Et bienvenue mes amis and welcome to another adventure in French. And today's adventure is the imperative. And the imperative is just a fancy way of saying commands. How do you give commands in the French language? In English, it's very easy. We just take our verb form, we drop the subject pronoun, and we say things like eat, go, stay, come here. Those are all commands, and notice they all lack a subject pronoun. Although the understood subject is you, because we're actually saying you come here, you eat, you stay. We just don't say it. And of course, that you could be talking to one person, or we could be using you talking to a group of people. So in English, anyway, the imperative is normally done in the second person, singular or plural, and it's done without subject pronouns. Well, it's basically the same thing in French. So let's take a look at that. All right, so we know that imperative is something that you do with verbs because that's how you give commands, with verbs. All right, so let's take a look at three verbs that I have here. Donner, which is an example of an ER verb. Attendre, which is an example of an RE verb. And then finir, which is an example of an IR verb. And just in case you forgot, donner means to give. Attendre means to wait or to wait for, and finir means to finish. All right. And notice then also I have down the side here tu, vous, and nous, because these are the three forms of commands for French imperatives. All right? Just like in English, I can give a command to you, one person. Well, in French, I can do the same thing, and in French, the you, one person, singular, is tu, the tu form. All right? Again, in English, I can do a command to you, meaning more than one person. And in French, we can do the same thing. And in French, the plural of the second person is vous, you all. And in French, I can also give a command to a group of people that includes myself. And that would be we. And the we form is, of course, nous. And actually, in English, you can do the same thing. You can give a command to yourself as part of a group. And although we don't use the term we, I'll show you how that works out. You may not realize that it's a command, but it is. All right, so you'll learn something about English today as well. All right, so say I'm talking to one person, and I'm telling this one person, give. Say, give me the dog, or give me the money, but I'm saying give. All right? Just as in English, in French, I'm not going to use my subject pronoun. I'm just going to use the verb form. All right? So to do that, what is my tu form of donner? All right? Well, that is donnes. See, I just took my verb, took off the er, added my ending for tu, which is es. All right? So if I want to say give in French, talking to one person, I would say done. Done. Now, there is a little hiccup here because the French, only in the ER verbs, they don't like having this S on the end. Don't ask me why. They just don't. And it's only with ER verbs. All right? So we have to get rid of this S. And now we're okay. Done. So this is how I would say give to one person. Done. Done. So that means give. All right. Now, what if I'm talking to a group of people, at least more than one person, and I'm telling give. You give. Give. All right. So I'm talking to two people, and I want them both to give. Give. All right. I would just use the vous form, which is D-O-N-N-E-Z. Just take off my ER, add the ending for vous, which is E-Z. Excuse me. And we get donner. And that's how I would tell two people or more to give. Donner. All right. And of course, I don't have to drop anything here. How convenient. All right, now, the new form. Excuse me. The new form is when I'm talking to myself as part of a group. So I'm talking really to the group that includes myself. And in English, we would use the word let's in front of this. So how would I say in French, let's give? It's very polite, but it's actually a command. How would I say let's give? Well, I would just use the new form of donner, which is D-O-N-N. That's my stem. Add my ending. O-N-S. Donnons. Donnons. And that is let's give. All right? So you see give, talking to one person. Give, talking to two or more. And then let's give, talking to a group that includes myself. All right. Now, let's see how it works with RE verbs. All right. Attendre. So this time we're going to be saying wait. Wait. Okay. What's the to form? Well, I'm going to use my stem. There's my stem because I dropped the RE. Now, what's my ending for to? Well, in RE verbs, my endings are SS nothing, ONS, EZ, ENT. So this would be an S. And this time we get to keep the S. It's only with ER verbs that the French drop that S in the to form. And again, we don't know why. It's just how it's done. All right? So I've got my to form, attends, which would mean wait, talking to one person. Okay. I want to say wait, talking to two or more people. All right. I'd use my vous form. There's my stem. What's my ending for vous? Well, that's EZ. And now I've got attendez, which is saying wait, talking to two or more people. Now I want to say let's wait. All right. Talking to myself and a group of people, or talking to a group of people that includes myself. I use my new form. There's my stem. What's my ending? ONS. And now I've got attendons, which is let's wait. All right? And I guess I could go through and actually do this. Done. Make these true imperative sentences. And just to make sure you know I'm being imperative or giving a command, let's add some exclamation points. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty, don't you think? Okay. So there we've got it. Attends, attendez, attendons. Wait, wait, let's wait. And then finally, let's look at IR verbs. We're going to form it the same way. What's my to form? I'm talking to one person now. I'm telling them finish. All right, so I take my stem. All right, and then I'm going to add my ending. And remember what the ending is for to, for IR verbs? It is IS. And again, we don't have to drop the S. You only do that for ER verbs in the to form. This is not an ER verb, so we get to keep it. And now I've got fini, which means finish. All right, now I want to tell two or more people to finish. All right. Again, I'm going to use my vous form. Here's my stem, and what's my ending? For vous in IR, why, it's ISSEZ. Finissez. Finissez. Finish. And then I want to say, let's finish. All right, so I'm going to use my new form. There's my stem. My ending for new is ISSONS. And now I've got finissons, which means let's finish. All right. So, as you can see, we have just used all three of our verb families, okay, our regular verb families, and we've just used the to form, the vous form, and the nous form. The only hiccup was with er verbs, we have to drop that s in the to, all right? But otherwise, very, very regular, very easy to form, and just like in English, you use the verb form without the subject pronoun. And look how simple it is to form the imperative. Now, if you're asking about irregular verbs, it doesn't really matter. Irregular verbs will just use their to, vous, and nous forms. All right, even though they're irregular, it's still okay. Now, there are some verbs that do have irregular imperatives. All right. Let me just. Well, we'll cover that later. They are être, avoir, and what's the third one? Être, avoir, and vouloir. They have irregular imperatives, but we won't worry about that right now. What I do want you to see is how you conjugate regular verbs in the imperative to give commands. Here's an example of an er verb, an re verb, and an ir verb. And with irregular verbs, just use their to, vous, and nous forms. And with few exceptions, you're set and ready to go and ready to give commands in French. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Well, I'm finished giving commands anyway. I'll see you back real soon for another adventure in French. Thanks for stopping by. Hurry back. Oh, that's an imperative. Did you get that? Hurry back. All right. Au revoir, mes amis. À bientôt.